as well. That's fine. They can give us all the information we want. We can send it to the appraiser. They'll comment back. No change. We'll send it to the listing agent going, this is it. Okay. Again, how the real clarity on the appraiser, because a lot of people think we influence the appraiser, we pick the appraiser. It's a random choosing. We're no longer allowed to speak to the appraiser, pick the appraiser, because they really want it to be an unbiased opinion. So when we order an appraisal, it goes to a middleman. The middleman puts it into a system, and it randomly grabs somebody. Okay, so it also helps you. You're protected. You're actually getting a fair opinion. One thing you'll see in appraisal too is, and this is a lot of agents don't know, is they'll put listings, properties that haven't sold yet, in the comparables. They can't use it as value, but they'll use it to where's the market going. Is the market going up? Is it going down? It tells the bank kind of what that market is going through at the time. Okay, so when you see yours, because all you guys are going to be seeing this in the future. I think that's it. Well, we talked about the condition of the property. There are certain guidelines they have to have. Double-strapped water heater, smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors. They have to be in the property. If they are not, they're going to have, the appraiser's going to have a condition to go back out to the property and make sure they're in. Okay? Same as if there was like a broken window. They would require it to be fixed. The appraiser comes back out and verifies it's done.
And also, another person that's going to be looking at this is the underwriter. The underwriter is going to sort of go through the appraisal as everybody else has, and they're going to find little things like Bruce has mentioned. Well, that water heater that you have in the garage is not strapped or it's not properly secured. We need to have somebody go back, and these will be conditions throughout the lending process. There are conditions that you can't meet fairly quickly, but nevertheless, they're just layers to protect you. So from when you get the house, everything's in order.
Okay, one thing I wanted to talk about too that is done very different is a condo appraisal. What's that?
The water heater.
Oh, there you see a picture of it. Water strapped. By the way, one thing that the appraisers look at is the ceilings. Are there water stains, especially with all the rainstorms we had? If they see spots, they'll need a roof cert. A roofer's going to have to go out there and verify that the roof is fine. But let's talk about condos. A condo comparable, the best comparable is inside that same complex. So you can have a building right next door, higher comps, but inside the unit you're buying, if there's a low property or VA versus conventional. FHA appraisers have to do a broader amount of checks. They're going to actually even take their camera, go into the attic. They're going to make sure everything works. The water heater, the air conditioning, the heater. They're going to be turning on everything. Okay, so they are going to be checking more. So again, if you're doing an FHA versus conventional, FHA does do more checks.
Okay. And this is something the banks tend to do, and that's where we might be a little different also, is if you go to a Bank of America and they have an appraisal done there, if you go to Wells Fargo, they want maybe their appraiser to go out there and make sure that it's documented under their appraisal. They don't want to accept another appraisal from somebody else. Okay? I think that's
now, really quick on that.
And a brief idea of what to expect when the appraisal comes in. So thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Joe. So now, listen, you found your house, you have an offer, you got it accepted, and you went into escrow. Congratulations, you guys, that's awesome. Your next step is going to be you really want to start doing all of your inspections, because basically what your contingency period is, it's kind of like a free look for a buyer to go and examine the house and know for sure that this is the house that you want to buy. So we always recommend in at least the first 10 days to have your home inspection. So I wanted to call up Sean Tregaboff of Precision Inspection Services. You always want to make sure when you hire a home inspector, you guys, that he is licensed. And Sean has been with us for many years and has done many of our home inspections. And we think he's awesome.
Thank you, Denise. Well, on behalf of Denise and Kim and Jessica, thank you for having me come out this afternoon and participate in your home process, home process purchase, and all the things that go through it. Again, my name is Sean Tragoboff. My company's Precision Inspection Services. I've been doing inspections for 20 years. And the purpose of me, I'm a generalist. I'm here to be another pair of eyes to help come out and give you a better understanding and educate you on your purchase. It's just like, for instance, if you're going out and buying a classic 66 Ford Shelby, you're going to take it to a mechanic, you're going to take it to a body shop, to some of those experts to give you a good evaluation, making sure that that car is in good condition. So with that said, as a general inspector, my main purpose, most importantly, is to document the overall condition of the house. And real briefly, I always like to say first, the bones of a house: roofing, plumbing, electrical, and foundation. So I'm going to take you through the process, and we're going to look at a single-family house. Condos, a little bit different because it's basically everything on the inside, which I'll mention in a couple minutes. But a single-family house, just imagine everything you see at that house. From the time you step up on the front walkway, the fencing, the gates. I'm looking at the grading and the drainage. I'm looking at fences and gates, patios, balconies, the exterior condition, the siding, the stucco. Depending on roofs, there's certain roofs I'll get on. Flat roofs, composition shingle roofs, but Spanish tile, concrete tile roofs, because of liability, I don't own the house myself. We inspectors don't go walking on roofs. We'll take our laddered eaves and binoculars, but it's because of safety as well. You still get a very good evaluation from looking at a roof without walking on it. Key thing inside, when you're looking at the roof, is you're getting into that attic space. Do we have old stains, new stains? So rain is your, what I think, when you're doing inspections on a rainy day, water is your worst enemy. And to truly get a better understanding, is that house leaking? Do I have water penetration? Is during rainy days? So looking at the roof, we're getting into the attic space. We're looking in the attic, we're looking at the ventilation, insulation, framing, electrical, plumbing that's in that attic space. Often in attic spaces you have HVAC systems, or heating and air conditioning, your furnace up in that attic. We'll talk about that in a second. Coming off the roof, you're walking around the property. You're looking at the, like I said, the grading, the walkways, the patio, the surface, the exterior windows, lights, outlets. We're evaluating your electric panel. We're identifying what kind of plumbing comes into your house. Copper, galvanized. We're looking at the water heater. We're going through the garage. We're looking at the framing inside that garage. We're looking at the slab, the operations of the garage door. We're looking if there's the proper firewall, the entry door. We get through the interior of the house. Just imagine I break down each room. And in each room, I'm looking at ceilings, walls, doors, windows, outlets, light fixtures. Now, there's certain things in a house I won't look at. Curtains, shutters, direct TV, satellite dishes, internet. But the main electrical, all the permanent fixtures in that house are evaluated. So as I was mentioning, going through each of the rooms, I'm breaking each room down. We have a fireplace. So there's some limitations we don't see, and we'll talk about the fireplace in a minute. Between the bathroom and documentation, to have that demonstrated by the seller. Let's see here. As a general inspector, I always like to consider my level of expertise about here. Then there's the experts about here. And when I say by the experts, we're talking about the electricians, the roofers, the geologists, the foundation people. So as a general inspector, I know enough knowledge to identify if there's some defects, if there's things that don't work. My job is to help you as a buyer be aware of making recommendations for further evaluation by the appropriate expert. That's why the contingency period is important. It's important for most agents to get the home inspector in first because you want me there first so we have those extra days in case by chance we need to call out other people to come back. In the inspection process too, there are some limitations. I do look at a fireplace. I look at the exterior, I look at the firebox, But nowadays, what go hand in hand a lot of times with the general inspector is a chimney inspection, because it's taking a camera and looking inside that flue. There's always a few things that we're always going to find, but it's just something that kind of goes hand in hand because there's limitations to what I can't see. More importantly is a sewer scope and a termite. Those two other experts are usually there at the same time I am. And why? When I go under a crawl space, I'm looking at the foundation, the piers and columns, floor framing. I'm also looking at the visible drain pipes. But I can't see the drain pipes that go underneath the slab or that get into the earth and out to the street. Then you also have options, as of course, as a chimney inspection as well. Termite, often it used to be provided by the seller. Quite often now it's more provided by you. I, as a general inspector, I'm looking for wood damage caused by termites, subterranean or rot, wood rot. But when I see it, I can't tell you what exactly it is. I can verbally tell you, but in your report, I'm immediately making a recommendation for further evaluation by a pest control company. Let's see here. Like I said, anything that I didn't say yet, but as a general inspector, I can't tell anybody to make repairs. I can only make recommendations. And that's my position, to help identify the overall condition of the house so you guys have a better feeling about the house, as well as educate you about what type of materials you have, condition of things, so you have, now again, so I always make note in my report you have that service available for you. So something to, some buyers, regardless if the house looks nice and dry, they bring in because they have kids, health concerns, or they just want that peace of mind. Asbestos. We're not asbestos people or abetment experts. You purchase a house before 1978, we used to put asbestos in various building materials. Those few materials, real quickly, are old cottage cheese ceilings, transite vent pipe, old wrapping of paper on ducts and attic spaces for HVAC systems, and old linoleum flooring. So I, too, as a general inspector, just identify that, make you aware of it. It's harmless. You have to disturb it. But it's just something that's outside our scope. But as a good inspector out there, we're here to identify, let you be aware of that. Let's see. I guess in conclusion, we're here to be another pair of eyes for you. We're here looking after your investment. I always strongly recommend when you, with your agents, you always want to have a certified inspector who's had a good amount of years in there, either be certified with CREA, the California Real Estate Inspection Association, or ASHI, which is the American Society of Home Inspectors. Kim, anything in particular that you think that I would want to mention, in the process?
Well, basically, I think the most important thing is to understand that your home inspector is your first line of defense when going in for finding out what's the real deal on the property. And for the negotiating of the contract, or more importantly, when you do the inspection, you can tell them, I know what's going on, but you can't tell them necessarily, it's really bad, it's okay. It's just a blanket inspection, right?
Yeah, when I find something to be real important, like I mentioned, the bones of a house, roofing, plumbing, electrical, and foundation. If I crawl underneath the house and I find that foundation has moderate cracking, displacement, incorrect installation, foundation dictates the overall structure of the house. My job, if I find something very important, I put it in a report, recommend further evaluation by that appropriate expert before the contingency period. Now, like I said, I can't tell you to do anything, but I emphasize enough to give you direction that, hey, there needs to be another opinion. I get on a roof. It's an old roof. I report the roof is beyond its design life. So I'm making a recommendation too, like when it comes to roof, consider getting a roofer out here for further evaluation on cost estimates, so you're now prepared to understand, hey, it's another $20,000 roof. Maybe that's going to be used in the negotiation, or at least you're now knowing it's in your pocket when you purchase a house to anticipate budgeting that. So, my report, I always like to say, my report most importantly is to give you documentation of the house so you have a better feeling, but I can't tell you enough that my report gets used as a tool to negotiate, and that's where you get together with your agents and determine, hey, do you want, and safety is huge too, so you're looking at certain items taken as asking the seller to take care of certain things, or is it something you maybe get credit? And again, that's something that my report is used to negotiate.
Yeah, one of the great things with the inspection is that anything major now becomes a disclosure for the seller. So that means the next buyer, they have to disclose it. If once we do the inspection and they find out that the roof is leaking in the attic, they may not have known it, but now they know it. So that gives you some really strong negotiating power. And we kind of have to go out of order because even on a Saturday, Sean's being called to do an inspection and he's doing it. So when you're looking for an inspector, those are the kind of things. He's going out on a Saturday after he actually, I'm going to tell him, he just got out of the hospital with a awful form of pneumonia that he actually got going under a crawl space in an older home.
Legionnaire.
Legionnaire, yeah. Not just, he's good. We don't need masks, but
I'm fine.
these are the-
I'm not contagious.
So we kind of had to go out of order. So that's why I'm asking the questions now. All the questions we did explain were at the end. But I do have one that I think is important for everyone to know. In general, how is the pricing on a home inspection? Say on a 1,500 square foot house.
General inspection, I look at, we inspectors take our prices based on square footage. More of the house, there's going to be more time there. My general fee between a 900 square foot house up to a 2,000 square foot house, whether it's raised foundation or slab on grade, there's some inspectors charge addition to crawl the crawl. My general inspection fee is $500. I've been doing this 20 years. My price is very comparable. I keep my prices comparable to guys who've been in the business years longer than I have. So condos, a little bit less. Standard 1,500 square foot condo, $350. You do a townhouse, I treat a townhouse almost like a single family house, but with a townhouse, which is you've got a structure side by side, not on technically on top, you've got an HOA, things such as roofs, the exterior, common walkways, driveways, jacuzzis, tennis courts, those are all maintained by the HOA. So the prices are above a condo, slightly below a house. On average, let's say a 2,000 square foot townhouse, I'm charging about $450 to do that. So a little bit less, because it's almost still like a single family house. You got a garage, you got your water heater, your electric panel, your HVAC systems. So you've got a lot of things as even a homeowner for a townhome truly is your responsibility, and we're here to evaluate that.
And that's important to know because those are going to be some of the part of the upfront fees that you're going to pay once you've opened escrow, and that's going to be your home. So we want to make sure that you have that information. So thank you and good luck on your inspection.
Absolutely,
today.
thank you. Before I leave, thank you. Is there any quick questions out there? Because I won't be out in the lobby, but is there any quick questions I can pop? Anybody? Yes.
What is it if a person has a home, an appraiser comes and tells them that their home value is low and they have a lot of fixtures? What would happen in the long run? Because the two couples that are married, they both own the home. The husband sends appraiser to the house.
Well, this is the home inspector.
I
so
do
we
the
have
home
to have
inspection. I'm
two.
not the appraiser.
So
I
the
don't deal
appraiser's
with the
gonna come
value of
back.
the house. I deal with the condition of the house.
So he'll-
Now, appraisers look at conditions, but I'm looking at truly functionality. Is the house working? What's working? What's not working? Safety and health
Okay,
issues.
so if that person has a lot of electrical problems and the roof is broken, how much would they estimate?
For the repair?
Well, as I don't get involved with cost estimates. Sometimes the buyer will say, "Sean, how much do you think a new roof?" I'll give you something I'll give a number, but our job is not to do that. That's where we recommend the experts. What's the upgrade of a new panel? What's the cost of a new roof? We've got galvanized the house and it's bad. Get a plumber out there before the contingency period to give you a value on how much it is to replumb. So my job is to help make you aware of when I put notes and reports, consult with expert for cost estimates on repairs, replacement.
Any other questions? Oh, we do have one more over here. I feel like I'm doing a game show. Caller, you say what?
So, the buyer is allowed to choose which inspector they want. Do they have that option?
That is your choice. The inspection and any subsequent inspectors are your choice. You're going to be paying them. You want to go with someone that you trust. Or
Let me just add on to that. Your agent representing you will usually have a list between 3 and 5 general inspectors, and technically it's your obligation to make that phone call, set up the appointment. Often you say, I don't know. I mean, so occasionally your agent will give you some guidelines, and then that also, your agent also has other experts too when it comes to roofers and plumbers, and so do general inspectors. So, but there's a lot of information, a lot of sources out there for you that we're here to provide you to make those choices.
And that's 100% correct. Typically with every vendor that you'll need to use throughout the transaction, we try to give you at least 3 referrals. And we advise that you really talk to all 3 or any other references that you might have to narrow down, whether that be a lender or an inspector or anyone else. Talk to them, make sure you're comfortable with their services have to offer, and then you can decide who you want to use. Your agent cannot make that decision for you. They can't say, you're going to use this inspector. They can say, this is what we would suggest, this is someone we've worked with. They can give you copies of some samples of their inspection, but that's as far as we can go. That's your final choice.
Great. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm going to leave some of my extra cards. You may have had a couple cards given to you. I'm going to leave my card on the table, and thank you. My pleasure. And there's going to give you a sheet out there that gives you a breakdown of the scope of the inspection, the things that we do and the things that we don't. It'll be on the far left table. I'll leave a stack over there for you. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a nice rest of the weekend.
So like I said, we just had to kind of go out of order just a little bit. So we're going to go ahead from here since we're talking about inspection. And Denise is going to come up and talk to you about how, now that you've had that inspection and you have all that information, how is that going to be negotiated to work on to your benefit? Denise.
Thanks. So now you have had your home inspection and you've gone over everything with your home inspector. The next thing that we do is what's called a request for repairs, because there are certain things that you would like to ask the seller to do. So when doing your request for repairs and you're going through your home inspection with your agent, Kit's going to get it on, there are 4 choices really a buyer has in their request for repairs. So the first choice would be to just ask for a credit for the items that you want to get fixed. And the reason we always recommend, well, we usually actually always recommend to do a credit, because if there's something that's needing to get fixed, you want it done by a professional. You want to make sure that it's a licensed person that is doing the repairs. Many times, excuse me, if you want something done, let's say a plumbing issue, the seller could say, oh, my Uncle Joe last week, he put this little pipe in and he was great, I'll have him fix it. That's not what you want. You want it done by a licensed professional. If permits need to be pulled for it, you want to make sure that permits are pulled for it. So a lot of times asking for the credit will allow you to pick the person that's going to fix it and when you're going to fix it. Makes it much easier. The next thing that you can also do is you can ask the seller to perform the, to do all of the fixes that you need. Again, when you do that, you want to make sure that they're going to use a licensed contractor. You want to make sure that if permits need to be pulled, they're going to be pulled. You want to give the seller an exact date that you want the items to be repaired or replaced, and you want to have the option to be able to come back and re-examine them and to make sure it's done properly. The other thing you can do is really nothing. Remember, you're buying a used home. There is typical wear and tear on a house. Paint will peel, floor coverings will chip. When you ask the seller for a lot of tiny little items, many times, because this could be an emotional time for a seller. finding out the reason why they're selling. They've lived in this house for 40 years, they've raised their children, they've seen their grandchildren being born in the house, and now they're selling it. Sometimes they take on their emotions. When you ask them and you nitpick for little small items such as that, sometimes it can annoy them, and it could cause some friction between the buyer and the seller. So really, be prepared to not just look at all these little small ticket items, which I'm going to go through next, and then you can make your decision of whether you want to ask for some repairs or to do nothing. The final choice that you have is to cancel your purchase agreement. The inspection is part of your contingency period. Usually canceling an agreement means that there's either too many issues that the house has and there's just too many problems for you as the buyer to take on, or the seller and the buyer cannot agree upon the request for repairs. So you as the buyer have the right to cancel the agreement. Now, the seller's response is they can agree to do all the repairs. Again, if they do agree, you want to make sure that everything is done by a licensed contractor in a timely manner and that you can reevaluate it and look at it when it's finished. They can agree to do some repairs. If you give them a laundry list of things, they can choose to do 5 things and not do the rest of the items. So that's always a seller's choice. They don't have to do everything that you ask them to repair. The other thing they could do, as we spoke about before, is to give a credit. So at the end of escrow, the seller will credit the buyer an amount that both the buyer and the seller have agreed upon mutually. And the last thing the seller can do is nothing. Remember, per the residential purchase agreement contract, a house is sold as is, and a seller is not obligated to do any repairs on the house. So it's also always something to think about. When we talk about wanting to ask for repairs, a lot of times, because we've worked with Sean so often, I will ask Sean at the end of the inspection, Sean, do you see any red flags somewhere? Any big ticket items are the ones that we want to look at. And some big ticket items would include the roof, the water heater, the plumbing issues, big electrical issues, if there's a foundation problem, a chimney. Those are the big ticket items we call that would be something that we would suggest would be items to look at to ask for repairs or replacements in your request for repairs. Small ticket items are items that typically, if it's an outlet that's not working or the paint is chipping and it's not a big costly fix, those would be the items that you would probably not want to put in your request for repairs, because if you do ask for them along with a laundry list of some big items, remember the seller can pick and choose which items he wants to fix. So why not just go straight in with the big ticket items that you want to get and take care of? Next slide. Other things to consider when you're looking at the inspection and your request for repairs are the items hazardous? Is it a safety issue? And you would like, there's a problem with the fence. There's certain rules and restrictions that you need to have to code. There's you have to have self-locking gates if you have a swimming pool in your backyard. So that would be something you might want to ask. When you are going through your repair list, make sure the things that you're asking for.
When you buy it, it's still the year that the car was, and those are the guidelines that it falls under. So like she said, treat it like a relationship, not a, be happy, not just right. So many times we see people lose a deal over a $50 fix just out of ego. But that's all we want to say. Are we going to just go back to the regular scheduled programming? Perfect. I apologize, I'm going to have to. I'm sorry, we kind of have to go out of order. We had to go out of order, but okay. So what they want me to do is just explain American Home Shield. So, you're going to hear about home insurance. Let me give you a little information about one other thing that's part of your contract that you receive. You receive a 1-year home warranty. What is a home warranty? Which does piggyback on the inspection and negotiation of inspection. So you want to focus on the big ticket items. If the water heater's gone, if there's a leak in the roof, if there's something major, those are the things you really want to focus on your repair request, okay? Not to say you don't want the other things. I say, like the first slide, shoot for the stars and you'll get the moon. The negotiation is a win-win. It's not I steamroll over anyone. So we want everyone to win here. But your American Home Shield is an is a home warranty, not an insurance policy. It's a home warranty that you receive. So you are getting a used home, but what you're going to do is you're going to get coverage almost as if it was new. So let's just say you move in, it happens all the time, and your dishwasher doesn't work. It was working during the inspection, but when you moved in, it didn't work. Or that's a good example. So your dishwasher doesn't work. That's where your home warranty comes in. So if it needs to be repaired, you call the home warranty company, and their coverage is, if I can get this working, here we go. It protects the home buyer in the event of, your home insurance protects you against catastrophic danger, and you're going to hear about that later. But your home warranty protects you against unexpected breakdowns and repairs. It covers all the major systems, like I said, any of your water heater, your electrical, your plumbing, and your HVAC. However, if it is predetermined in the home inspection that there's an issue with one of these, is it then still covered? It is not. So the big ticket items, if you discover that they have problems in your home inspection, it would not be covered in your home warranty. But if it was fine and then all of a sudden it didn't work when you moved in or sometime within the first year, it would be covered. I know for myself, we've used our home warranty. Something you definitely want to keep. A lot of people let it lapse after that first year. They figure, oh, it's done. You want to keep it because I know for myself, my husband and I had our air conditioner go out on a very hot summer. It wasn't fun. But they came out and replaced the motor of our air conditioning unit. I think that would have been a $1,500, no, almost a $2,000 repair. They covered that. We also had a water heater that we couldn't figure out why there was water in the garage. I would suggest that if you do buy a property, you want to have that home warranty because there's nothing worse than your smooth sailing and now you're trying to save your money back up after you've used it for your move-in, and now here you are with all of these little unexpected events. Nice to have it covered. So again, why should you buy it? The home warranty, the first year is going to be covered typically by the seller. Make sure that your agents that you're working with put that in there. You want that home warranty. You get to decide what home warranty company that you use. We're giving you information specifically about American Home Shield. I personally love it, but of course there's a lot out there that you can choose from if you have one or if you have a referral from someone. That is going to be in your ballpark. They don't get to decide that. It protects your budget during the first year. Like I said, they have it. It reduces the stress of all these crazy things that are going to go on, and it's very cost effective. It's not a very expensive policy at all, depending on the the size of your property, or what coverages you want, determines that. Unfortunately, our American Home Shield rep had a very scary issue with her dog, so she had to leave, and that's been going on all night. So please pray for her and her doggy. But we're going to go now to, I do apologize that I have to go back through here for you guys, but we're going to go back to our regularly scheduled programming and get you back on track here, possibly, maybe. I hope so. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. Now, this is very important, so please keep your ears wide open because the next two speakers that are coming up right now are the glue that keeps your transaction together. When you're buying a home, these are the glue. It's West Coast Escrow and Equity Title. We're going to have Sherry Hartley and Kathy Wilson. There's spots for you. I'm going to play for you really quick because can be quite a complicated little hope I'm going to play.
All right, so we're not going to play the videos.
That usually puts people to sleep, so videos.
Okay. All right, so I'll start with, once you've met with Corey, and you've met with Bruce and Joseph, and Denise or Kim or Jessica has taken you out and you've found that dream home that you really want. You've gone through your whole list. I need this, I need this, I need this. They write that contract. They submit it to the listing agent. They accept your offer or it's negotiated. Eventually, what happens after that? You may think you're done. I'm here to tell you you're really not. You're going to go into escrow. And that's where Kathy Wilson is West Coast Escrow. She's our escrow officer and our manager. And she's the person that you're going to interface with most in the next phase of your transaction, your purchase of your home. So Kathy, do you want to kind of give them an idea what to expect from you other than your fabulous sense of humor?
No, keep going. You're doing great.
Going.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Try
she's going to put
yourself.
me on the spot. All of you may have gotten, or you should have gotten one of these. It's just some literature that I brought along. There's some confusion over what is title insurance. Everyone kind of understands what hazard insurance is, you know, especially if you've lived through the fires recently. You're real familiar with whomever your hazard insurance carrier is. Or, you know, there's been that catastrophic flood. You're pretty sure who that homeowner's insurance is. But title insurance, if you've never owned a home, what is it? Why do I need it? Well, what you really are doing when you buy your home, that's generally, for most of us, the greatest purchase we will ever do. You want to make sure that you have insurance that's going to protect you from closing, from purchase date, all the way through till you sell your home. If you're not selling, it was paid 40 years ago. And in Southern California, traditionally, that's paid for by the seller. They've entered into a legal binding contract to sell you their home. They're also guaranteeing you clean title to the home. So that's paid for once. It's normally paid for by the seller, and it lives with you as long as you own your home. And again, the legacy, you pass your home on to your children, it conveys to them at no cost. The one thing that really wasn't addressed, if you're obtaining a loan when you purchase your home, lenders will require as a condition to loaning you $400,000 or $200,000 or whatever that loan amount is, they are going to require you as the borrower to obtain for them a policy of title insurance that protects the lender's rights. And again, that's a one-time. As long as you have your loan with guaranteed rate affinity, you're going to pay for it once. Kathy's going to help and make sure all that happens through escrow. But that's a condition that they're going to have. So there is a title insurance factor that will probably fall on your shoulders as a buyer. But as the ladies all said, everything's a little bit negotiable. So we're kind of giving you some broad ideas. What we do, the title insurance end of it, is we examine all recorded documents. We're looking for any defects against that title to the property. We want to make sure that 5 sellers ago, the legal parties actually signed that document. The last thing we want is to get you into a home and all of a sudden someone claim, that was my grandmother's house. If you go back far enough, you're going to find that deed where she put me on title and somehow I got lost in the process. Hi, Joseph. So we're doing the examination. We're checking all of the recorded matters. We're looking to make sure you're not going to have an ownership claim problem 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 40 years from now. So we are doing that part of the research for you. Once we have completed that, we issue what's called a preliminary title report. It'll go out through escrow. Escrow will send it out to all parties. It tells you the condition of the property. It's going to tell you if there's any defects on the property, if there's any ugly stuff that we need to deal with. We're going to have the seller join in with us and help clear things sometimes. Most of the time, your prelims are pretty clean. That's what we're issuing to you at the beginning of the transaction. When we're all closed, we're going to convert that preliminary title report into a policy. It's an actual physical paper policy. You want to keep that. Corey was talking about scanning all of your important documents. That's something you need. It's going to guarantee you ownership of the property. So be cautious of that. Also, I don't remember which one of the ladies were talking about the really tragic story about the family that unfortunately passed at a very young age. In my packet here, and Kathy's going to speak about it, is ways to hold title. There's different ways, especially if you're an individual. Once you've acquired that property, it might be the best money you ever spend to reach out to Corey. If you don't need to repair your credit necessarily before you move forward, get that trust created. A trust is a vehicle that you can transfer the property into that will protect your children, your mother, your sister, whomever. If something horrible happened to you, they would not have an issue and wouldn't have to end up in probate. So there's so many things that are involved. I brought a few things in here for you. You have my card in your little packet, and I'd love an opportunity when you get to that point. The one thing I will say, again, traditionally, sellers tend to dictate who they're going to issue title insurance
Watch
through.
out for that, Corey.
I'm going to fall down, watch. However, as a buyer, boy, I'd be fighting pretty hard to make sure I knew who was going to issue my insurance that's going to cover me for 3 years until I move up to my next house, or for 20 years as long as I live there, or to my children. So it is kind of an important thing you want to address. There's some great companies out there. However, I like to think that we might be right up there at the top. So please remember equity.
So my name's Kathy Wilson, and I'm an escrow officer. That sounds so like scary or something. With West Coast Escrow. And what we do, we're like probably the most misunderstood name that you'll run across, because they'll say escrow. Well, what the heck do they do? What we do is we send you a lot of paperwork to fill out and confuse you, and then we also collect all your money. So yeah, it is. People are really excited to be in this position. So because we're always the ones that people kind of get upset with when they get all that paperwork. But it's important. We will always be happy to help you with that. We can handle any kind of emergencies that come up if you want to give us a call. Before I did this job, I was a 911 dispatcher with the fire department. So, yeah, if you're upset about paperwork, call me. Yeah, I know how to handle that. Yeah, okay. The thing about me is that I don't always talk about my subject. My problem is that I usually would tell jokes. So when Kim asked me to come here today, she said, well, we asked you because you're funny. I'm like, great. And so she said, so if you can tell some jokes. I said, sure. That's easy. I'm thinking of political jokes, religious jokes, and everything. She goes, oh, it's in a church. Yeah, so that was exciting to me. On a 3-day weekend, on my day off, it was not a problem. I was here for it. I wanted to be here for you guys. So I'm going to tell 2 jokes. The first person I called to find out, a clean joke, was our priest. So then I thought again, but no. So anyway, I called him up, and this is the one that he told me to tell you guys, so sorry. What did the Buddhist say to the hot dog vendor? What? Thank you. Jeez. Make me one with everything. I can't help it. Okay, the second one, I was thinking, who could I call now? Okay, my niece. She's 11. So she absolutely would not know anything bad, so this is the one she told me. Why is a koala bear not really a bear? It doesn't have the qualifications. See, I'm trying to tie it into you, lenders. Joseph's looking around to see if anyone's laughing. Yeah, they're planted over here in the laughing section. So anyway, with the escrow, I think it's really important that you guys, once you start working with a lender or your realtor, is that you have them get you an estimate. And we can always provide that, because a lot of people don't understand that what you have to pay is not really just a sales price. You will have closing costs with that. And I think it's important that you can plan for that. So again, if you're talking to any of the gals that are up here, or you're working with your lender, have them get a hold of escrow and get you an estimate. Your lender will supply you with one once you go into an escrow. And it's an important thing, because we have a lot of people that will come to us and go, wait, why am I paying for this? And why am I paying for that? The thing with the West Coast Escrow is that we do have really good prices. They're also negotiable. So when you go to your escrow company and they tell you these are all our fees, don't think that you can't negotiate. You can. So a lot of people, we don't charge a lot of garbage fees, which are considered like loan tie-in fees and all different fees that you'll see listed on there. We also are happy to be here to help you if you need something notarized, even if you're not in escrow. You have our information. Sherry mentioned that I was going to talk about vesting. There's all different ways to take title on your property. And it's, again, really, really important. So we have some flyers that explain it in detail, which is probably better than me going into that because I know you guys are probably wanting to get out of here and our clock has expired. I know. I think we're out of here. But anyway, so that's pretty much all I have to say to you guys. I think it's a great thing to do, and I really hope to see you guys in escrow. Want mine too?
I know you want to hold on to it,
Yeah,
and
I
that's
do.
Pastor Nels. So,
Wait, did that guy that had pneumonia have this one?
yeah. Did we find that informative? Yes. That helped? Yes. Yay. And they are both right. When I tell you they are the glue that is going to hold your transaction together. So choosing the right escrow and title is extremely important. Next is something that we should all have no matter what. Like I asked before, now everyone that's a renter has renter's insurance. I need to hear loud. Yes. We have it. Is there anyone that doesn't have renter's insurance that does rent? Good. Yay. I like that because it's what's going to protect you. So next what we have coming up now is our insurance brokers with Farmers Insurance. As you can see with every one of our vendors, if we're going to bring it to you, we're going to bring you the best in the business. So just like with Equity Title and West Coast Escrow and everyone that's been here, Farmers Insurance, come on. We have Alfred Thornton and Bert Harris. Woo-hoo. Joe, can you help with the video portion? Let's see here, because I'm going to try to play this. I'm going to play it. We're going to make it work. It's right here. Here it is. We're going to make it work. Come on, Joe. Come on, Joe. Come on, Joe. Come on, Joe. It's okay. All right. It was such a cute commercial, let me tell you. I'll be the commercial. So there was this dog, and he was at home by himself, and he was like playing on the counter, and then I don't know how he hit the little faucet thing, and the water goes wah, everywhere. Next thing you know, the whole living room is flooded. I know you've seen it because it's Farmers Dump. Okay, and the water goes everywhere, and then you have these dogs, all the dogs. Why they had so many dogs, I do not know. He might have gotten gas. But they all start swimming all around, and next thing you know, the whole place is flooded, and the owners are like, what the go? But who covered that? Farmers! Oh, I'll do the next commercial later.
So now what if we get it to work? Now it's all blown.
Give it 2 seconds and well, anyway, I'll introduce myself. I'm Bert Harris. That's Al Thornton. I've been in the business for 28 years. I started when I was 4 years old. I think you started when you were 4 also. So I've been doing this a long time. So our commercials, farmers commercials, one of the things they say is we've seen a thing or two. Well, I have seen a thing or two, or 3 or 4. So today we're going to go through pretty much what insurance is, because I think perhaps a lot of you don't realize you pay a lot for insurance, but what do I really get for that?
My name is Al Thornton. I've been an insurance specialist for approximately 13 years, and it's been a lot of fun. I enjoy customer service for the most part, and that's why we're here. We're going to be disseminating information about insurance for you guys to prevail.
Okay, I guess the internet's not working. Oh, I saw the arrow. Okay, well.
On Farmers, we've seen almost everything, so we know how to cover almost anything, even mermutts. And we covered it February 23rd, 2016. Talk to farmers. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
I think you did a commercial better. One of the things you'll see in those commercials, those actually did happen. I mean, of course, it's embellished, it makes it fun, everybody's laughing. But if you see our commercials, all those things have happened. And so we're here today to kind of go through everything. Basically, we're the doom and gloom people. We're the ones that have to worry about everything. And so the definition of insurance is, I can tell you, but I thought I'd give you. At least we're trying to keep you awake at the end, right? You don't know what's going to happen. Okay, insurance. Insurance is a legal contract that transfers risk from a policyholder to insurance provider. That's a simple definition. In other words, you give us money, and then we worry about everything that could happen to your house after you own it. And, you know, we've gone through the process, say, the 7 steps. All these processes, each process to finally get your house. What would happen after you have your house? That it burns down, it floods, the water, etc. So we're here to take care of all that. We're the ones that have to worry about it. And sure, we have to know everything about your home. We have to see what the inspectors say. We have to see what different people say about the house before we insure it. So let's go to the next. Risk equals possibility of financial loss, and that's what it comes down to. So when you have insurance rates for any kind of insurance, what's the risk and how much will it cost to fix it if something should happen? And that's what it comes down to, the simple definition of insurance. Risk is what makes you decide if you need insurance. Risk is what insurance companies measure when determining whether to offer you insurance and how much it will cost. So, when you're buying a home, again, you love the home, you see what you like, but we have to worry about if something happens to it, like I've said before. So we have to determine how much it's going to cost based on where it's located, how big it is, when was it built, when was it remodeled. There's lots of different factors that go into it. We'll kind of breeze through this because it's going. Your insurance policy, for escrow to close, escrow is concerned about the house, obviously. We want to make sure, the house is great, you're buying it, you have it. But we worry about other things too that you should worry about. There's things going on with the house that we want to know, the personal property that you have inside the house. There's features about the house that could affect the risk of what's going to happen, what could possibly happen to the home. So there's different risk factors. So just going through the prior insurance history, the construction of the house, how big is it, where it's located. I'm just paraphrasing here, but in general, we have to look at everything to come up with a rate of what could possibly happen.
And just to piggyback off that, pets, sleep popping, pets. That's kind of important as it relates to risks. We don't like to cover, or insurance companies generally don't like to cover Rottweilers and pit bulls and things of that nature. So you have to think about that. Those are some considerations.
It's ironic, that commercial, which is obviously a funny commercial, the 2 biggest claims for insurance is water. Here 5 times we're going through with that. But water is the #1 claim where a pipe suddenly breaks and your home is a mess. The other claim on the liability side, which we'll talk about in a minute, is actually dog bites. Dog bites are the #1 homeowner claim. If your dog bites somebody, you have to worry about it. Yep. Like has been said over and over today, and all the speakers have done a great fix. If you didn't have the proper insurance, it's a disaster that can last through a lifetime, literally, because you're not going to be able to get your house back.
Awesome. I'm just going to assume that this is going to play. right, great.
Honey, what's the word for large blaze?
Fire.
13 letters.
Fire.
13 letters.
Really big fire.
Conflagration. Seen it? Covered it. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Okay, so let's talk about the basic components of homeowners insurance. You have the dwelling. What is the dwelling? The dwelling coverages protects the structure, home, roof, walls, and everything within the home. How about personal property? Coverages for personal property, clothing, furniture, appliances, computers. Imagine if you were in Hawaii and you lose your computer or you damage your laptop. Personal property will definitely protect it, and you would get a new computer.
If I can tag along on that, I was starting to say a little earlier with the dwelling again. Dwelling is what closes your escrow. That's the house itself. The personal property is what you are concerned about. Those are your things, and so that's part of your policy. And a lot of times, people don't realize what the insurance policy covers. It's more than just the home itself. So property is more your responsibility. What do you have, basically?
Sure. So liability insurance pays damages the insured is legally obligated to pay due to bodily injury or property damage. Other structures are sheds, disattached garage, and those would be covered as far as other structures. Loss of use. Coverages when an insured has to move out of the home while repairs are being made to the home. Now, keep in mind that the fires just happened. When people were out away from their homes, loss of use came in by way of allowing these families to go live in hotels, live in different homes while their homes were being repaired. Not to mention, even if their homes did not burn down, loss of use kicked in to where we financed places for them to live.
Just FYI, Calabasas, as you might know, the whole city was evacuated. Literally the whole city. Not all of Calabasas burned down, but the whole city was evacuated for 5 days. That coverage there, loss of use, kicked in. We had clients that literally, had to leave immediately because the sheriff said get out. People had to buy socks and underwear and clothes, for work the following day. Eating out, restaurants, hotels, etc. So that little coverage there. And also, if you have renter's insurance, and you should have renter's insurance, that coverage should be on there as well. It's the same thing. Sometimes you watch the news in the evening and you see there's a big fire somewhere and everyone's standing outside, oh my God, what are we going to do? Well, they should have renter's insurance to be able to check in at a hotel and not worry about it for the night. That's a big part of it.
Yeah, and those buddies can cover you for up to 60 to 90 days, whatever it takes to get that home repaired. So it's really key. Okay, what does basic homeowners insurance cover? In case coverage is provided to these items damaged in lieu of a loss. So trees, shrubs, plants, lawns, debris removal. Fire department charges, that's something we would talk about while you're sitting in front of me. But these are important homeowner coverages.
You have to remember, as your insurance company, we're with you for the lifetime that you own the home. I mean, all the processes basically happened today got you the house. But we're on this for a lifetime. So lots of things happen over a course of a lifetime, as everyone's aware. So this debris removal, this is a huge coverage right now that becomes so important. Your house is burned down, now what? Well, it has to be removed, all the debris. What if half of the house is standing, the other half isn't? How do we figure that out? The expenses, we might have to knock down the rest of the house to build the other part of the house. So there's differences in policies and things. Today's just an overview of things to be conscious of, but the main thing is there are coverages for everything. So when you're buying a house, it's a very exciting time to buy a house, but it's also, oh my God, I'm buying a house. There's things out there that can help give you some peace of mind, and you can sleep at night.
Okay, perils covered by homeowners insurance. Perils. Perils are hazards for a home, okay? So some of the perils are fire and lightning, smoke, theft, explosions, that could happen, you never know. Glass breakage, falling objects, that's kind of key here in LA with the winds. Burned trees, these things can fall on your homes. So you got to be cognizant of that. But again, these are perils covered. Okay, perils not covered by standard home insurance. Floods, earthquakes, acts of war, nuclear detonation. We can't have that. Sounds far-fetched. We can't have that. Go ahead.
No, it's important to note, so those don't come with the standard homeowner policy. There is coverage for the first two, okay? Last two, not so much. But the earthquake insurance is really important. I mean, yesterday, literally, or 2 days ago, was the 25th anniversary of the Northridge earthquake. Okay, I was an agent then. That's pretty much when I was getting started. And earthquake insurance, it's important. I mean, you hear a lot of stories about, different things regarding the premiums and things, but when you come closer to buying a home, depending where it's located, that's something that we can do for you and, get you a policy. And flood insurance, just what flood insurance normally is water that comes from outside. So on our typical home insurance policy, if a pipe suddenly breaks, like that situation where the dogs were dancing, the pipe breaks, floods in the house, that's covered on normal policy. Flood insurance is water that comes from the outside. Dam broke, washes through the house. We had these big rains, your street becomes a river, and the river washes into your house. That's a flood. So again, the coverage is available if you are in a flood-prone area.
That's not going to be the first bit of our conversation as we sit down face to face and talking about flood insurance, especially due to the fact that we live where we live. Okay, so that's it. All right, additional coverages: jewelry, watches, furs, tools. You gun-toting notes are people, guns, cameras, etc., computers, business property. These are additional coverages that the basic home policy will give you.
You can increase limits, of course, and different things, but...
Okay, liability coverage protects you against legal claims you are legally obligated to pay for causing bodily injury, sickness, death to others.
Yeah, there's so many, again, I've been around a long time. I have all kinds of stories about liability. Just so you know, just keep it simple here. You all realize auto insurance, you get in an accident, you hurt somebody, your auto insurance kicks in and helps for, take care of the damages you cause to others. That's kind of easy to understand. Your homeowner insurance starts where auto leaves off. Basically, anything that happens in your life that's not related to your car is coming off of your homeowner insurance on the liability end. This has nothing to do with the value of your house and the size of your house or anything. This is liability if somebody's going to sue you for something. I'm working on a case right now. I'll say real quick, because theme of dogs here. I have a client that lives on Topanga Canyon, near the canyon in the town of Topanga, and a bicyclist was riding his bicycle right by their house on Topanga Canyon.
It's a horrible story.
Yeah. And the guy riding the bicycle is a doctor, and so he's going by the house, and there's some dogs in the front yard. And the dogs, big dogs, I guess, the dogs start barking and going crazy. But they're behind a fence, but they start barking and going crazy. So he turns around, looks at the dogs. He falls off his bike, breaks his shoulder, breaks his arm, and breaks his shoulder. He's now suing our client for his damages, and he's a doctor, so he's out of commission for a while. He's a surgeon. So here's something that we're defending him right now, defending our client right now. We'll see what happens to the liability. And the dog was behind the fence. The dog didn't actually bite them, but the fact is you know, stuff like this happens every day. Just I can give you millions of stories. So your home insurance comes with liability. Your renter's insurance right now should come with liability. And you should always have enough liability to protect your assets. Because, you know, if someone's going to sue you, they're not going to be nice. They're going to go for it. So you worked hard to buy this house. You did everything. You followed all the rules. You have your house. And you want to make sure you're protected.
Liability. Okay, 2 options for protecting your personal property. Number 1 is going to be actual cash value. And that is the value of the property lost or damaged at the time of the lost. So that's exactly what you're going to get back. You're not going to get anything over the actual cash value. Number 2 is going to be replacement costs. Simple. The cost of replacing damaged or destroyed property without deduction for depreciation in the value of the property. Again, this is stuff we can talk about when it's question and answer time.
I just wanted to tag on real quick. You get what you pay for in insurance. So little things like this, which we'll talk about later if you have questions, it makes all the difference in the pricing of a policy. You know, we're going to give you back a brand new house with new furniture and new everything, or we say, you know, the desk, the table is 10 years old, it's worth $20. Or we're going to give you $200 for this thing because that's what it costs to get the new one. So, onwards, we got
Cost of today. Okay, steps to protecting your property. First, take an inventory. Take an inventory of everything you have in your home that's of value. Jewelry, videotape it, take photos, keep documents, save that stuff. Compare quotes. Farmers versus State Farm. Go out, do your work, do your legwork, and try to figure out who's best. Everyone's been speaking about that all day. You have options, okay? Select your coverage. That's why we're here. We're going to walk you through exactly what is going to be needed for your apartment, your townhome, your condo, or your home. We will positively take care of you in regards to that. Ask about disaster coverage in your area. That's the risk part of this point. Ask your agent, where do I live? Am I living in a fire zone in Calabasas or Thousand Oaks or Santa Clarita? I want to know because that's going to be a big difference in the cost for your insurance. Check for discounts. Discounts can mean, it can be based on your profession, things of that nature.
Right, everybody's, you know, again, insurance is based on the chance of a claim. So everything is rolled into a risk. It's the house itself, but it's the people who live in the house. You can have 2 houses identical, and you have a 22-year-old single guy living in the house next to a family, same house, same square footage, same everything. Single guy's going to pay more for that house insurance because there's more of a risk that something's going to happen, actuarially speaking. So again, everything's important.
And lastly, select a provider and apply these prior 5 steps. And that's us, Farmers Insurance.
Thank you.
Real quick, also, this is a checklist. This was supposed to be my prop. So when you come by our table, make sure you grab one of these because you will be able to check off these six steps and more, okay?
One thing, thank you. They mentioned that you get what you pay for. I'm just going to give you a quick example because it's time for us to go. But I said this once before. Who you go with is important. Not just the price. I remember getting into a car accident years ago. No, this is not home insurance, but everything. I got into a car accident on 405 and the 101 Exchange right in the center. I was panicked. I called in because I didn't know what to do. It was like one of my first accidents. And I called in to the insurance, probably after I called the police. And it was a hit and run. And do you know that while I was on the phone, they said to me, "Don't worry, it's okay. We'll get someone out to you." They had someone They called AAA while I was on the line with them. They had, by the time AAA came, I got into the AAA truck. They told them where to take me to a Precision or something in the valley. By the time I got there, they already had a Enterprise car person ready to pick me up. They took me to Enterprise. They put me into a rental car, and all I knew was I picked it up 2 weeks later. I've been in an accident since then twice. Neither of them my fault. Don't judge me. And twice, I won't say the name of the companies, but both times I had to go through so much. I just called my agent and I said, listen, can you please help me? They said, don't worry about it. Go get a rental car. We'll take care of it. And it was another week and a half before that company even got adjusted. So I'm just saying, when it comes to insurance, and that's car insurance, it's not just about price. Make sure your coverage and your service and what you're getting. So we're done with this portion. Has this been useful? Yes. Yes. I heard many times in talking to people in the lobby that this really took off the veil. This really did make it less scary. This gave you information that you didn't know about and made you feel a little bit more comfortable about taking a step in this direction. Is that correct for everyone? Yes. Awesome. So if we can get all of the vendors and everyone to come up, because if you have questions, we want to make sure we get them answered for you. So we're going to have Corey with FAS and Latora. We're going to have West Coast Escrow. We're going to have all of our partners. We're going to have Guaranteed Rate and Farmers. Unfortunately, our inspector, as I said, went to a Saturday home inspection, and our American Home Shield rep had to leave on an emergency. But do we have any questions for anyone along the way? Hopefully you wrote them down. Okay, first question here.
First question? Perfect.
To the answer. While she's going through the questions, let me tell you, all of our partners up here, we have Debbie Soden, who is one of our affiliate realtors here, and Corey and Latora and Sherry and Denise, and Bruce and Joseph and Booth and Al. And I'm Kim. So you can ask these questions to anyone. Just know when you choose a realtor, make sure you choose a strong team. We are so blessed to have each and every one of them on our team. They back us up through all the transaction, every step of the way. So when we come to you, you are ready to go. Question?
I just wanted to ask, are these slides going to be available to us?
That's a good question. Does anyone have any problem with sharing the slide presentation? Fantastic. Did you pre-register? Did you sign in on the sign-in sheet so we have your email? Okay, then we will make sure that we would get that kind of a general. Everyone want that?
Yes.
Okay, we'll make that happen. That's easy. Next question. Oh, 1 second, we'll get you your glasses.
This is for farmers. I have farmers, but I need to know that backup pictures, ask you that the backup pictures that I have taken of my valuables, do you need a copy of that, or we just keep our own?
Yeah. I hear the very first one. I know it was about the values. You should take a picture of it.
She has taken picture videos of her valuables.
Yes.
Do you need a copy of it?
No. You just keep it, but keep it in a separate place. Keep it in a separate place. Not bank deposit box or at another person in the family, etc. It can be simple as taking it on your cell phone too. It goes to the cloud wherever it goes. But that's a good thing.
And if you are renting and you have that renter's insurance, that is a very, very good point. Go around your property, go around your apartment, condo, townhouse, whatever it is you're renting, and take a video of your belongings. Because we were evacuated in the recent fires, and let me tell you, you think you have it together and, I can just grab all my stuff. You don't. They literally were calling on our phones at 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was like, get out right now. So grabbing and making sure I have my passport and valuables, huh? The only thing I wanted was my husband and son, and let's go, grab my mom and get out of here. So take a photo of things that you have, because if you have that renter's insurance, it'll be covered. What is the next question?
Okay, so my next question would be for Bruce and Joseph.
Joseph.
You were talking about the money that you don't put in your account because it's weird to put money onto your account. So what if it's a gift? Let's say I am planning to have to ask for how much money I can really have to get a home approval. So then my mom said, okay, I will give you, a certain amount. So my grandma said the same. So then that's money that it's not me working, it's not in my account, it's not in my Credit Karma or. So on that money, how do you put it? That's only part of your savings
Yes.
that you kept in your underneath your
Yeah,
bed?
it's your asset. It's a gift. And what would happen is, it's your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, your mom. Your mom or whoever's giving you the gift fills out a gift form for this property, shows a bank statement from them, and shows that the money went to you for the house. That's it. It's all fine.
And
You
if
can
it's
use all
not
gift.
money from this country.
Oh, it's from another country. That's
Yeah,
fine too.
It's the same thing.
That's fine.
Okay, and I
The
haven't-
one thing about money coming from other countries, you just want to make sure you wire it early enough because sometimes there's a delay. It's not like wiring inner U.S.
Okay, and the other question, but I don't know if somebody could tell me, because I'm not from here clearly, and I moved here 3 years ago. So, what is really a mobile home? Because I don't understand. When I read all of those things, it's like, what is a mobile home? Like a car, and you go. So, the other thing is, if it's a mobile home that you take with you or not, but then the land, do you pay for the land, or that is your land, or what is that? Honestly, I don't know. Like for me,
We'll get
houses
to that
are
answer.
houses, and then here you have like 15 types of houses, so I don't understand.
So I've got that answer for you. A lot of times when we see mobile homes that are on the market, they have amazing price points, right? They're like $100,000, $200,000. What they don't tell you in that listing is that it's for the property itself. It's for the mobile home. Mobile meaning it can be moved one place to another. Okay, so what they also don't tell you is that the land that it's sitting on, you don't own. So when you purchase that home, you also are taking on a rental situation to where you have to lease that property from the person that owns it, unless you negotiate otherwise. So it's just something to consider, because even though the price point of the mobile home is one thing, the price of the land is a complete other component.
Now, there are some mobile home parks that you can buy in and buy the land. In most cases that we've come across, and title, you can probably tell me if you've seen some others, in most cases, even when you buy the land, it is for a specific time period that we're buying the land. No? So she's seen some that where you can actually buy your portion of the land. So just know that a mobile home would be something that, a home that can actually, not easily, not meaning it's on wheels and drive off, but they can pick it up and move it. But I'm going to go to title to expound on that.
Some mobile homes versus manufactured home or modular homes will be in a park that was originally created as an old school mobile home park, meaning it's brought in by a flatbed truck and it's placed there. The wheels are still attached. I don't do car parts, guys. What's it called that connects the wheels? The axles stay on the actual mobile home coach. So the wheels can be slid back on and it could be moved off. There are certain parks that have been converted. When you buy in those, you're buying, it's no longer personal property. A mobile home is considered personal property. You move, you can take that with you. If it's been converted and you're actually owning the home itself and you own the land, it's real property. So there's escrow involved, there's title insurance involved. You pay property taxes. So there are some communities that have converted. There are some communities that have been built, and from the very beginning, they are fee simple, meaning you own the land and you own the structure. In order to own the land, the structure has to have been converted to permanently affixed to the foundation. So a mobile home, for the most part, would be in a mobile home park. The wheels could be put on the axle, and all you are buying is the actual structure. Interestingly enough, up until very recently, mobile homes, if you bought one, was conveyed through the Department of Motor Vehicles. Now it's handled by the state of California through Housing and Urban Development. So it is a different animal if it's been affixed to a foundation, or if it still has the axles that the wheels can be put on.
Did that answer your question? Are you clear on that? Do we have any other questions for anyone? Oh. How long of a loan should a person get?
Like based on their age, like if you're close to retirement age, do you get a 15-year or a 30-year? I mean, that might be an obvious question, but
you can do whatever you want. There's no age discrimination. So we'll get an 80-year-old person wanting a 30-year loan. That's fine. Again, it's up to them. The one loan we didn't bring up today was reverse mortgages. It is a loan for people over 62 where they don't have payments and they can live in there until they pass away, live as long as they want with no payments. So that's out there for that age range as well. But telling someone what loan they should take is really specific to their situation. I mean, if they have a ton of money, yeah, a shorter term loan makes sense. It's a lower interest rate. But if they're struggling and they're strapped to it and they want the lowest payment possible, 30-year fix would be the best way to go.
So, with that being said, let's just say that it's an 80-year-old grandma buying a home and they do a 30-year fix. Chances are she may not live to maturity of the loan, which is maybe 110 or maybe 120. But the people who inherit it convert that into an investment property. You get a low enough rate, you have some time to pay off the loan. So that's another way of looking at it. But it would be discriminating for me to say, Bruce, I can't give you a 30-year loan based on the information that I have.
You're in that group.
No.
That's mean.
I just had one more question. As far with this team, would you help a person buy like a vacation home, like to use as a Airbnb, like in another county?
We, the last part, you said something about a county?
Yeah, in a different county.
Yes.
Like up north.
Southern California, or all of California.
Oh.
And we have licensed partners that are licensed in other states. We have referrals that we do and partners in other states all around the country. So if you're looking to buy or know someone that wants to buy or sell in another state, not country, thinking of vacation. If you know someone, we can help you. We have partners around the globe. That's one of the really wonderful things. With Coldwell Banker and Sotheby's, we are well partnered under NRT. We've got you covered. But as far as here, we sell throughout California, residential real estate. So if it's a vacation home, it's an investment property, condos, single-family homes, have home, we can do it for you. And all of our affiliates, thankfully, are also have that kind of expansive marketing or ability. So no matter where you are, we got you covered. Any other questions?
Yeah, the question that I have, I had a friend, she owns a home, she's married, and they both have share of the house. So he sends an appraiser to the house, and there's a lot of repairs. I see a lot of stuff broken, the ceiling. What happens when that person has been paying the mortgage and everything, and they don't have enough to pay for the house? What would happen? You know, the appraiser came and said it's a low cost. So what?
No cost for the appraisal?
Yeah.
And what was the reason for the appraisal being completed?
To find out to see how if they can sell the house.
Oh, so they were just looking to see what the value was.
Yeah, the value of the house.
And so I just want to make sure that I understand the question correctly. So they had an appraiser come out so they can get an idea of the value. And did they get the value from them?
Yes.
And the value is, you're saying low?
It's very low.
Or the property just needs a lot of work?
I don't know if he didn't answer that. I didn't get the answer.
Huh? Do they have equity in the property? So do they owe less than what the appraisal came back?
Actually, she's paying the mortgage, so they're married couples, but she's separated.
So they're separating and they want to sell the property. So if they owe less,
he sent the appraisal there.
Right. So if that's going to be a question that probably will go into more detail outside. But as long as if they owe less than the property is worth, they can sell the property and get the equity out of that. If they owe more,
she said the value was down.
Well, but this in terms of the loan, if they owe more than the property is worth, then they'll have to go to their bank and discuss doing what we call a short sale. And the bank, that's something they would have to do with there. But that is a question that would be more specific, I think. So you would want to speak with the lenders about how that would work. Yeah.
Thank you.
So definitely get with Guaranteed Rate. And we have a raffle. I did have a couple of other things. Sure.
My friend had mentioned if you have any, we are in California, so if you have any Spanish-speaking anyone that is trying to get a house and they don't speak the language, or the gift is coming from a person who doesn't speak the language, I'm 100% Spanish speaker. I can help you translate, talk to a realtor, or do it myself. So that may be helpful, may not.
No, that's absolutely helpful, and we do have partners that we can connect you with. If, for instance, if someone doesn't speak English, we've had people that only spoke Vietnamese, so we needed to bring someone in that spoke Vietnamese. Because personally, we are much more comfortable making sure that someone's communicating with us in their most comfortable or native tongue, whatever that might be, whatever's most comfortable, because we need the contract very, very clear. One of the questions I did want to ask before we do a drawing, but if you have a ticket, anyone up there that didn't put their ticket in for the drawing, make sure that you did. Everyone did? Okay. Korean, go get your ticket. So when you are done here, before we do the drawing, of course we're going to have FAS outside waiting. Like Sherry said, no matter who you are, if you know someone that has, if you know someone that has a property that they need to do a trust or anything, great service. One of the questions I wanted to ask you, Sherry, before we stop, because I'm sure that maybe you're not a homeowner, but maybe your mom owns a home, or you know someone that has a home that they're planning to leave for you or for their children or whatever. One of the things we come across all the time is the way people hold title. And this is something, I mean, if my mom has a home that which she doesn't, she better, that she's planning to leave to me, and she's married, and she has the title vested with her and her husband, that my dad's not here, so it's not my dad, but whoever, then that property would go automatically to her husband. If something were to happen from there, unless they have it vested correctly, that property could go on probate and cost you a lot of money. So I just want you to just touch on really, really quick about that portion of it.
Yeah, we see quite frequently, we all have parents. Our parents may be elderly. Mom and dad bought the house together. Dad's deceased or mom's deceased, so there's a sole surviving tenant. What happens when that tenant passes away? It's my mom. Of course the house is coming to me automatically. That is not the case in California. In California, mom and dad bought the house. They held title as mom and dad as joint tenants. When one of the joint tenants passes, the surviving joint tenant now has 100% interest in the property. At the time that that person passes, their estate will have to be probated. So, if you find yourself in that situation, here's the best piece of advice I will give you. Please don't attempt that process by yourself. You need to hire an attorney. You would be surprised because there's a legal process. There's service notices. There's all sorts of things that have to go out to the public. It's published in newspapers. It's shocking how many people will show up at a probate hearing and claim an interest. Oh yeah, I walked her dog every day for 10 years, and poor little Fluffy died, and she told me when she went someday she would leave me my house. Or I had a really pretty tragic situation not too terribly long ago. 50-ish-year-old gentleman, and he and his wife had owned their home forever. And unbeknownst to her, he went to work one day, and unfortunately he had a massive heart attack at work. So she went through the grieving process. A few months into it, realized she had to sell her home. She needed out from that burden of that mortgage that the two incomes were providing. So she reached out to an agent. Agent went to list the property only to discover, unfortunately, the husband had severed his joint tenancy with his wife prior, and he had recorded a deed to himself as a separated man. So once you sever a joint tenancy, and one person can't do that, it had to probate his 50% interest. And I will be standing in front of you, hand to God. The girlfriend showed up with a notarized letter that said, should something ever happen to me, all of my net worth will go to fill in the girlfriend's name. And he had 2 children and a wife that, that maybe is a little estranged from the family. But he sure comes back around when there might be money. So be cognizant of that. Take a moment, reach out to any of the girls here. they can find out for you for sure. If you don't know how mom's property is vested, you don't know how grandma's property is vested, address it now while they're capable.
Definitely keep them, go to them, find out. It protects everyone in the long run.
But I just want to add to that, for young women, heads up. This is especially important to young women because right now you're young, you have young kids, you're little kids, you have a significant other, you're married, you're divorced. You want to make sure that at the end of the day, your children, when you're gone, get something that you worked for. And if you marry somebody and you divorce and they remarry, or you have a significant other and you buy a home with him, he may have children. You may be a little lax and something happened to you and his children get what you worked for. So be very cautious, single people and young people. It's not all about your mother and your grandmother. It's about the assets you're accumulating, and you want to make sure that if you leave this earth tomorrow, whatever is there that can be left for your children, they get it. And that's what it's required.
And it doesn't have to just be husband and wife. We had a situation with clients, and it was actually two sisters that own a property together. And they'd owned the properties for years. And when one passed, there was one sister left on the property, but the son of the other sister insisted that half the property was his. California law, half the property is not his. It was in joint tenancy. So just go evaluate, call us. We can help you go through the proper channels, and it doesn't cost anything to evaluate how the title is held and how that title should be held based on how you want it to be left. And we have a question. Oh, you can answer.
So my question is, if your parents were to leave the house in the will, does that affect you as a
She doesn't like the mic. If the parents leave a house to you in a will that affect her as a first-time buyer? Will she still be a first-time home buyer if her parents were to have left her a home in the will?
Is there a loan on the house?
Wait, Jessica, can you give me
First-time home buyers for people that don't own in the last 3 years. So you could have owned in the past, and all of a sudden, you've sold it 3 years later, you're a first-time home buyer. But one thing, everybody's so worried about this first-time home buyer. There's FHA, you can have 3 other properties and do an FHA loan. So, the first-time home buyer benefits, I don't know, I think people are more worried about that than they should be. But if you owned a property, no, you're a property owner.
Okay, so did you hear that? If you owned a home 4 years ago and haven't owned a home since, you're still considered a first-time home buyer. Sherry?
Can I add one thing? You say mother is leaving you a home through her will. However, a will and a trust are two different vehicles.
Does the will supersede the trust or no?
No. And if it's only in a will, and the will is my dictate of who gets what, you're still going to end up in probate. The courts are still going to have to pass that property through probate. You can't automatically assume ownership. It'll have to be handled through the court system. So everyone tends to believe a will and a trust are synonymous, and they do the same thing. They do not as it applies to California real estate.
So the way they hold title is going to determine if they're going to have to go through that very costly process. So even if they say that they have a will, get it evaluated, make sure that it's all laid out, because it can, we're in the house of God. We all want to go to heaven, but no one really wants to die, but it's got to happen. It's the only way we're going to get there, right? But it happens.
Can I ask a quick question? I'm sorry, was it in a will or you already own it? Oh, no. Until you actually own it, you're a first-time home buyer. So, no, being in the wills.
But if that was to be, or if that was to be, what's the protocol, the will or the trust, which direction should I
Well, in a trust, you'll actually have a will as well. It'll all be inside the trust. The trust just allows you to go outside of probate. You don't have to go through probate to actually get the property. It's a quick transfer.
Even if the title is not showing what their desires are, they don't have to go through probate?
If your parents created a trust and they made their home an asset of the trust. They would convey from themselves, mom and dad, husband and wife as joint tenants, to mom and dad, trustees of mom and dad trust. If they should pass, hopefully whoever prepared that trust will have the appropriate language that states who the successor trustee is and who will inherit what, and the distribution and the bequests. All of that should be handled within that document. So it'll say they are the original trustees. Upon one passing, the other most of the time can act on their own. Upon both passing or upon incapacity, maybe mom has Alzheimer's and she can no longer handle her own affairs. The trust should make provisions for, usually it's based on 2 doctor's letters, that appoints whomever's listed as the successor trustee. Probably would be you. I will tell you this, as our parents are aging, there's an age factor. When trusts were first created, the general thought process was we women were incapable of handling business affairs. If you have a parent that's 90-ish and they're in a trust, I'd highly recommend you look at that. A lot of times it would say, if the wife passes, the husband can act solely. If the husband passes, she's going to have to act with someone, and it tends to be a male they appoint. A lot of times it's the husband's brother. Well, if the husband's deceased, what are the chances the brother is? We had one recently. It was the brother, it was the best friend, and it was a bank that was no longer in business. So they had to go to court and handle that. But it seems to be that era of late 80s, 90s type of people that created trusts originally, because the general thought was we women were not capable of making financial decisions or handling matters on our own.
Do we have any other questions before we do the drawing? Going once, going twice. We hope that you have found this information extremely valuable for you today. And let's see.
Real quick, I mean, suspense is killing me, huh? Just to tag along with all the theme with here, with insurance, we have to keep up with things as life changes. So whatever company you choose for insurance, you want to make sure the company knows what's going on in your life. You know, if things change, you acquire assets, you get rid of things, there's a divorce, marriage, this and that. If we don't know what's going on, we can't insure you properly. So just tagging along here, it's really important to communicate. It's a two-way street, to get you the best coverages for everybody here. So on that, we're gonna have a little drawing.
Drum roll.
Yeah, drum roll.
So this is for a $25 gift card to Home Depot.
We don't have a ticket. We don't have tickets.
You don't have your tickets?
No, I didn't get tickets.
Oh, you didn't go by the farmer's booth? Oh, I did. I gotta get one.
Okay, first ticket's up.
First ticket is. Sorry, it's like my age now. It started when I was 4, but okay. 511471.
Yay! Thank you.
$5 gift card.
511497.
497.
Right here.
497.
All right.
Thank you so much for spending the morning. 4 hours can be long, but chock full of valuable information. Who's ready to take the first step today? Anyone? We got one that's ready to take that first step today. And we are really excited for you. Congratulations. 2019 is going to be your year to become a homeowner, or at least get you set up to make it happen. Have a great day. Thanks for coming.
Actually, I just want to say we've heard from a lot
lot of you that you'd like the presentation. Make sure that before you leave, your email is there for us. And if you want, you can also email us through that 7 Steps card that we gave you so that we can forward it to you.
Did everybody get a 7 Steps card packet?
You should all have a packet of